That's right, it's the Player Series. That's right, it's the Player Series. That's right, it's the Player Series. That's right, it's the Player Series.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to The Natural State of Mind, a disc golf podcast. I am your host, Chris Wyman, with my co-host, Christopher Wolford, and we've got a third now. And Michael May, he's back. He is back, and that is awesome that he wants to continue working with us. And we actually have a sweet new segment that we're doing where we're talking to disc golfers that we know locally, that we know from around the region. If we can get one from overseas, that'd be amazing. So maybe one. We have Jamie Callis with us. Jamie, how are you?
All right. How are y'all this evening?
Doing well, man. We're glad you are here with us. I guess, Wolf, you and Jamie talked earlier, and you've actually had Jamie on.
Yeah, we get about 45 minutes with Jamie. Right now, all Jamie. We got to talk with him with Ron and Bob up at Mountain View. I almost said Cedar Beach, but we did that last time. But so Jamie's a great talk. I got to meet him last year.
It's been 2 or 3 years.
The first time they ran the Killer Bees, I played pro, and I was lucky enough to get on with Jamie and David Key and oh god, and I was like, okay, you got some work to do, Chris, on throwing those lines. Even though I see him all the time, would you consider yourself a woodsman?
Definitely. That's definitely my stronger point and my more. I prefer to play those type courses more.
I do too, and just like Jamie, I try to putt well. He does putt well. At Res, I mean, there's not clean lines, and dude was hitting them, 50 feet, no problem. Whatever, just sits there. And I don't know if you do it for a certain amount of time. Granted, you only get technically 30 seconds, but man, you really stare at that putt and really take your time. Where I'm a guy who just gets up there with my bag on and slings it at it. So
bag on putt, baby.
Bag on putt. I'm 100% usually. But thank you, Jamie, for joining us. We'll get into all that and what he does and how he does it. Thanks again, Mike, for joining us.
Always, baby.
Yeah,
baby.
That's where I saw Jamie play the first time.
Where was that?
At Res.
At Res?
R.I.P.
Oh, really?
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
So it was and everybody was saying the same thing. Like, man, when his putt's on, he's on, and it's over. So you gotta chase. I believe you won that one as well.
So
if that was the one I won, it was a pretty good MP40 field. I think there was 21 MP40s, but then there were also 39 MPO, and I beat all of them too.
You
Nice.
did.
Nice.
But that was when you beat Terrence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terrence actually came back from the third card to win in Open.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, I
And
was carding with him for that.
And that's not necessarily, I don't know. I think Terrence would call himself a little more open golfer.
That was impressive for
right,
Terrence.
for Terrence. If Terrence Ivory out of Slidell,
Bernice.
Bernice,
yes.
I knew it was one of those amazing towns in Louisiana down that way.
It's a big town.
But yeah, like I said, Wyman said we're doing a segment where we highlight some players, some guys who put some miles on their car and have played a few rounds, and I feel like they probably deserve their due just. And to talk to them, the one episode I know we talked about you and how you got started. Can you tell us that again? I know you play with some buddies or don't play anymore, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was me and 5 of my buddies. And they took me out that day, and, we all played, and it's kind of funny. Like I said, now, I didn't know at the time, but, my first throw I throw, and it goes over the road over there. So I stand on the other side of the road and try and throw back at the bucket, and it turns around hyzers right back on the same side of the road I'm on. So I throw from over there again.
That's kind of like when you're on a ball golf green and you try to chip up and you chip all the way over to
And then you do it again.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was just thinking about that. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no. And then, long story short, those 5 guys that took me out probably haven't played a dozen rounds collectively since, between the 5 of them. So it was they're total casuals, took me out, and it's like, it was funny. It's like, yeah, you were always hanging out. And then all of a sudden, like, where's Jamie? He's like, oh, he's down at the disc golf course.
Can't get him away from it.
That's kind of how you started, right, Mike?
100%. And
you
actually,
get away from
it was at Res too, with a buddy that also doesn't play at all anymore.
Oh, you actually went back to disc golf, yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mike's man, up and coming fast, like really taking to it, and he's an impressive player.
Sometimes.
I heard his name this weekend before the tournament even started.
Oh, look at that.
But I'm sure Jamie hears that a lot everywhere he goes. There's always that next up and coming guy, right? In disc golf, there's always, you know. And now that I've been in this kind of running this stuff and whatever I'm doing 501, you do see the next guy coming up, right? You're, man, you know, Mike's that guy, and now then I kind of look at who's the one below him now, and Mike's already on his way, so you start looking for the next guy. It's just like pros, like kind of like Ricky and Paul. I'm guessing that torches to Calvin, Gannon, and Isaac right now. To me, that's your big dogs.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. Yeah.
So always looking for that next guy, but I'm sure you have seen a ton of them, haven't you?
Oh yeah, over the years, quite a few. I mean, listening to Matty O's DD interview, I think it was last year. It may have been year before. I was kind of listening to that, and I do believe, because my story is the first time I played with him, I thought he was 10, and doing the math now, he may have been 11 at the time. But it was back when there were mixed cards first round, so it would be a pro, an advanced, an AM, and then a random fourth.
That's cool.
So it was, because when Matty was talking about it, he's talking about his dad putting with Eric Tracy, who a year or two before had finished third at Worlds behind Climo, you know, either Stokely or Russell or one of those guys at. So it was ET, and then me as advanced, and Matty as AM, and I forget what the fourth one was, and he proceeded to just absolutely whip my butt. Oh, he beat me by 10 strokes playing in the division below me.
Wow.
That was Matty-O?
That was Matty-O.
What was the video? What's the video they show him in like a Yankee shirt unbuttoned playing
was
like
Worlds.
a World?
That was final cards at the Worlds.
Guy looked like a baby, yeah. I think it was 16, maybe?
Yeah, and he ended up, I don't know if it was that Worlds or maybe one of the next ones that he was at, where he was on the final card again. And the gallery goes on. I think it was maybe Schwebe, I think, started it. You know, something like $100 for whoever chooses. And the next thing you know, like I got 50, and before it's over with, all the spectators, it's like $1,100 for a 2 on that hole. So Matty busts off a roller, and then ends up canning, you know, like a 70, 80 footer to get the 2.
Heck yeah.
Take the money, and he ends up winning, you know, like 25% of what the actual winner of the tournament won, just on that
A one
side.
hole.
Yeah, because those purses back then. What did Matty-O still putt the same way when he was that age?
Pretty close.
Okay.
It's. I was talking with somebody about this a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it kind of reminded because he had to get like his whole body into it back then, and it kind of that curl now kind of reminds me of. I was like, I wonder if he's just had that. I've never really paid attention that much, but I know, you know, back then he had his whole body, and it was a lot of people back then did that curl.
Really?
Well, he's talked about in interviews that, you know, he's learned everything pre-YouTube. So it was all however felt good to him and whatever worked for him. And he said that's just how he did it. And he never second guessed it.
Like Jamie said, that's a very old school way of putting. I've seen that, man, where, and I'm assuming people around him did that kind of way. And then the turbo putt was a big deal kind of when I first started. They're like, if you can throw a football, you can throw a turbo putt. I was like, okay. And never really registered for me, but.
No good at him.
I throw mine different than almost everybody else there is. Like literally, I tuck these 2 fingers on the outside, and those 2 are on the inside of the rim.
Huh.
Ooh, I might need to try that.
That sounds kind of fun.
The way I'm doing it is like the way I see, and it's just not working.
It just wobbles.
I don't have the hands.
I have a whole lot more control of the disc that way.
I feel like those knuckles will help out.
You can't turbo putt as far, but it like you can actually move around the disc around in your hand, and it's flop out like it kind of bouncing up there does.
Man, some people really have that down. And
Johnny, dude.
I was gonna say Johnny McRae, isn't he the kind of the godfather? That guy?
Well, him, and there was a guy, Mark. I can't remember what Mark's last name was. Out of like Kansas City area, and that dude was.
And they're deadly
really,
with it.
really good. Oh yeah.
Like I remember seeing a clip of Johnny making like a foot plus turbo putt uphill. and it was the most impressive thing I may have ever seen.
Oh, Calvin, we love you, buddy.
Oh, man.
Oh, look
Yeah,
out below.
Look at that on the video. All right, Jamie.
Was that a Toro?
Now I get to kind of do that. What I was trying to say.
There you go. Perfect timing.
That's probably our buddy Rusty messing with me.
Yeah, maybe it is.
I know y'all probably aren't old school enough.
Nope.
Actually, we'll be spreading some of his ashes up at Bud Hill this week.
Okay.
Oh.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So,
Well, not cool that. Well, cool. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That.
Rusty was a one of a kind.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, you start asking around any kind of old schooler from anywhere between Shreveport and Memphis. He always came up here to Little Rock also. There are plenty of stories on Rusty.
So you've been to Monroe as well, right?
Yes, like I said,
Bazaar?
I started in Shreveport, so back then there wasn't a lot of disc golf going on. So it would be we'd go hang out with Monroe, go to their minis occasionally, and occasionally they'd come over to ours. And that was other than kind of funny. I tell all these new players back in the day, I'm like, we had to wait on the magazine to come out to figure out where the tournaments were for the next 3 months, figure out where we were going.
Wow,
That's crazy.
man.
You know, that's crazy to think about. You're right.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. There's not disc golf scene. That's so nice, right? I didn't really think about that before. How they
Yeah, like how would you do
I
it?
never heard about any pro on any level, much as I play. But I went playing with a lot of different people, as I said in the past. But I would have thought somewhere in Austin I would have heard about a pro thing, but never ever.
Have you ever had a time where they had something advertised and you show up and it's canceled or something?
I have not.
That's good. Because it would be a bummer to travel a long way and then they canceled and you have no idea.
Where was your next courses
Yeah.
that you would go to? Like the next state, like Burns Park? I mean, I'm trying to think, like, because Arkansas wouldn't have had any.
Well, it was Southern Nationals back then versus PDGA. So Baton Rouge had a tournament once a month. Always go to Baton Rouge. Where we were playing would be Baton Rouge, Lafayette, West Monroe, Little Rock. Occasionally, a lot of the other ones, they would go down to Mississippi and to Mobile. I never made it down to Hattiesburg and Mobile, but most of our other guys. Or
Man.
Jackson, we'd go to Jackson some also.
Those Southern National discs fetch some good coin, man. That stamp fetches some really good coin on. I used to dollar disc golf auction. I hadn't seen one in a while. Then again, I would think it's fake. I would think somebody's doing like put it on the Halo one. There wasn't Halo back then.
No. I've actually got a CE arrow with that stamp.
So
A CE arrow.
Oh, I threw them for a long time.
What's the C?
Like Champion Edition. CE Plastic.
Yeah.
In addition.
I even knew that. I'm not an Innova guy.
oh,
Called
dude, that was
out.
That was one of my most impressive shots ever was with a CE arrow. I mean, y'all ever played Waterworks?
Haven't, but
I
I've
mean,
heard of it.
Waterworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was Am Worlds 2003. And I only played one course beforehand. I had a buddy go caddy. So we just walked the courses with an arrow and an AVR. An arrow is literally, it's like a big dinner bowl. So I'm sitting there watching all these guys. Hole one's 508. You know, it goes down across the valley, up across another little one, and then the bucket sits up there. And I'm watching guys with drivers and mids, and they're just hyzering off. Yeah, let me just. So I throw my arrow, and it hits the limb and drops like 70 short. So, okay. We get to tournament day, 3-card backup. I get there, and I throw that arrow, and it sets up, and it starts flying straight, and it misses chains somewhere between one and goes like 22 feet deep back there, and I make the 2 comebacker on the 508 hole. It's kind of funny. All the spectator or the other groups that were backed up, I was like, man, you let that thing go. It's like I didn't think it was anywhere. And another guy chimes in, like, yeah, that was an Energizer disc. Kept going and going and going and going.
So it's controlled energizers, really.
Yeah,
What it's
Yeah,
for.
Bingo, there we go.
We're all mistaken.
I
You
know
got it
Innova
right.
people. I know Innova.
Good rebound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Mike, what you got?
I was going to ask, since you have been around a lot of pros, who is your favorite? If you have one.
Obviously, I'm always pulling for Matty.
Which good for him, by the way, on his win at MVP.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
I was just so happy for him. Like when he was done, like I'm crying and they're literally listening to it.
Oh,
I was so
everyone
happy
was.
I was crying. And most
People don't
everybody
realize
I know
how long
was.
he's been playing.
They don't.
And how long? I've always said, I wonder. I'm trying to think. He has to be the one that has the most top fives or final card appearances at Worlds without a win.
He's
I mean,
got
he has to
so
be.
many. I forget the stat, but I think it is, and I think it was a lot because we ran those stats, and it was astonishing at how much higher he was at like top tens than everybody else without a win.
Mm-hmm.
He's always right there.
I want to say Statmando did a stat on that on the Nick and Matt show.
Yeah,
when Matteo won this year, and it was, I think he was definitely the highest player as far as no wins. But
and it's not even close.
Times on the
It wasn't. It wasn't close at all.
Crazy.
You're an H-Town guy, right? You Astros fan?
No.
You're a Rangers fan?
No, I'm not.
No.
No, I'm Choke City fan. We're out. We choked again. Best record.
Atlanta?
Gone. Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I heard. I knew Jamie likes Texas Longhorns, and I didn't know because I just saw Astros lost. I had no idea.
Oh, well, no. Braves is the only team I could watch growing up.
Oh yeah, TBS,
TBS, baby.
WGN,
TBS.
and during the daytime watching the Cubs game because they weren't playing night games back then, and then you got to watch Bozo the Clown show before that. Right?
So we had TBS long
TBS,
before we had WGN.
That's right. 'Cause, man, there was some bad years the Braves had.
Oh,
back
they're losing
then,
100
dude.
games a year.
Raphael Belliard, shortstop.
I'm like from the Dale Murphy, Bob Horner, Chris
Bob
Chambliss, Glenn Hubbard days.
Can't tell you how many Bob Horner cards I ever thought I had in my life. Baseball cards, man.
I've actually
always
got
the
an
guy
old Dale Murphy autographed jersey.
Nice. Dale Murphy had a mole on his face. He looked like the dude from Little House on the Prairie, John Boy.
I thought you were going to say
It's actually I feel really bad for him because if he just has one more home run, he's guaranteed Hall of Fame. And he never got in.
He's Mr. 3000. That movie is such a good movie.
He was 399 home runs. For the 400 was the law.
At least they didn't take one away from him, like in that movie with.
Brad Pitt.
Oh,
that was
about Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Bernie Mac. Yeah.
Bernie Mac played for the Brewers, and he was Mr.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, and they took
He comes out of
three of them
retirement,
away
so
to
you
get
gotta
him
get
back, and yeah. So I didn't know that. That's interesting. Dale Murphy in the '80s was quintessential guy for Braves.
No, he was MVP twice. He was NL MVP twice.
MVP twice in 399. I should get you in. Of course, Barry Bonds has like 4 MVPs and 700 something home runs. He can't get in. Dude, he didn't do any. He didn't do anything illegal. They just didn't know about
everybody
it.
else
The technology was the stuff he was on. The technology was so far past that they didn't have tests for it. So you can't test something you don't know about. But anyways, I was told to ask about cats because I talked to somebody and they said, ask Jamie about something. He's like, ask him about his cats. I was like, well, I don't want to get punched or stabbed or anything or have him cry or anything. So,
no. It's funny. I've got some socks that say crazy cat dude.
Okay, so you're a cat dude, huh?
Now, technically I have 4, but one has been staying with mom since I left up here, so it's pretty much hers now. But also one of them I have a full-blood Bengal.
I'm not sure. Is that a cat breed?
It is a cat breed.
Didn't even know there.
It's basically a cross between it's an Asian leopard, which are the little bitty small things. Asian leopard and domestic house cats.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. What are they called?
Bengal.
Oh, Bengal. Yeah,
it looks like kind of like a bobcat. But
I know,
more pronounced.
man. I saw a thing on those. They're really neat. You're exactly like you said. That's what they look like, man. They're just. You seen them?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, and they're really cool.
Jungle cat.
Yeah, that's a dog and a cat. Mine is a dog and a cat's body. That's
Nice.
really what it is. And you tell people, they're like, yeah, whatever. And then when someone spends 2 or 3 days, they're like, yeah, dude, you're right. That's a dog.
Man, actually, speaking of cats, and I'm a cat guy too.
Yeah, Wyman's
Crazy
got 2.
cat man, really a dog person, but my ex-girlfriend let me keep those cats that I got for her.
That's what you got in the divorce was the 2 cats.
Yeah, the divorce was before that one. So my track record is not so good. But man, yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, no, it has been cool because Lacey had 2. I stayed with Lacey this weekend, so he had 2 cats. And then Jeremy travels. He has a dog and a cat when he travels. So it's just hang out, and every day at the course, I got to pet on the cat. I was like, all right, I'm missing my kitties, but I'm gonna get some kitty love.
Man, everybody's bringing pets now with them, in those RVs.
I
but they're
don't.
traveling,
I don't see how cats travel. It blows me away to watch those people like Cat.
I think about it too.
With
Cat with a
Mr. Farley, whatever his name is from.
I think it's Jim Leahy.
Yeah, I said
that's
Jim
it.
Leahy.
Jim
That's
Leahy.
it.
Yeah, I hung out with them at Waco this year. We were all staying at the same place.
How you put a cat on a leash and walk it around like a dog is
I
crazy.
mean, that's such a cat merch thing to do, though.
yeah.
I at the root, people would bring them in these like carrier. I've seen a backpack with one where it was like a little globe and
Yep,
the cat
I've
was just
seen that.
chilling. I was like, well, that's cool. But they would bring them in these carriers and treat them like dogs. And that's cool. I'm sure they identify as a dog as well. So give them the right. But cats are cool. I feel like as much as I'm not saying I'm not a cat person, but more like a cat in real life. When I want attention, I'll come rub on your leg with my head, and if I don't, I'll claw you.
Yeah. They want it. When they don't,
That's right.
they let you know.
They let you know real fast, man. Those things are they're fun. Cats, they kill mice.
Well, yeah, that, and as a disc golfer and, going away on weekends, it's a lot more feasible to have cats than dogs.
It is
It's a great point.
A dog's a lot like a kid.
Yes.
A cat, you can just leave a litter box and a whole bunch of food out, and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, big bowl of water.
A dog will just have this place destroyed, piss,
It'd be
poo and
pissed
pee
off that you
everywhere. I
left
mean,
it.
God, it's just
They'll eat all the food. Give it one bowl, one giant bowl, and the food's gone by the night.
I love big fat cats. I made a song of my daughter. We were there and I recorded the cat meowing, and I made a song. It's pretty good.
Mine.
I did. No, I added yours in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mix
Good. I'm
of
just glad to know
yeah,
mine was in.
yeah. And then, but anyways, that's fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Poor Adam right now is probably going insane with my bingo. Literally, has this loud, obnoxious.
Is it? It's not
It's almost a howl.
okay.
And if she's not in the room with me, she's doing that.
That's crazy. Yeah, just wanting your attention, which is a great thing. So, cats. What else do we have? I had some other questions. Hold on, pull them up.
Go for it, Mike.
I got one.
Yeah, go for it.
What is, if you could pick one, what is your all-time favorite disc golf memory?
Ooh,
That could be an
wow.
ace. That could be playing on a certain card. That could be winning a certain tournament.
Question.
I mean, it is, and it's
Yeah,
it's.
man,
That's one I would.
thinking.
Yeah, that's.
You can come back to it.
We can come back to
Just
it.
want to put it in the air.
Let's
I
think
like
on that
That's
for a
a great
minute. Let me touch
question.
on because I brought up Manio, but also Big Germ. Big Germ, like that's not an act. That's who that dude
Such
is.
a good dude.
He is so. At the Players Cup, which may be touching on that memory that you're talking about there. In the 2 years the Players Cup was in Austin, I played 7 rounds. 5 of those were with Big Germ.
That's cool.
And
So he's he's like I'm assuming he's like anybody else on the disc golf court. Doesn't have a good shot. Not not. I don't want to say not nice. I mean, we get in pissy moods because but he seems like a legitimately nice guy. Like the Jomez, what you see that's him.
Yeah, that the jokester, prankster, having a good time. That ain't an act. That's who that dude is,
Yeah.
man.
He's in like the upper echelon, kind of like with Simon, of like what you see is what you get.
Nice.
Man,
Figured Simon.
the Simon
Oh,
thing, doing the
100%.
twirl with with his disc before
Yeah.
he threw, dude. That
Yeah.
that's very impressive.
It's pretty
and
swaggy.
very
Swaggy.
very
Oh,
confident
yeah.
in your skill set, right? Because if he drops that's a throw.
In a tournament.
Yeah, right. So to do that, and some people would say it's cocky. No, man, I think fine line between cocky and confident. And that Simon's a very confident guy.
All about how you do it.
And he's a natural entertainer, also.
Oh man,
Seems like
he wants-
fantastic.
Part of the reason why I didn't win for so long because he cared more about entertaining.
Absolutely.
And taking that shot or doing that shot
Yeah.
nobody else is doing, and doing that entertaining end of it, and
And then he got hurt, and it was probably the best thing for him.
had a baby, and I liked when he brought all those Lizados out, autographed, and was throwing them out. I think that's cool when these players do that, or they tee off like a hole one or something like that. I forget what tournament. Maybe that's the MVP
It
where
might
he
be.
did that. But
Yeah, probably was.
So yeah, so touching back on your thing,
Oh.
it probably would be my Players Cup experience.
Okay.
Like the whole experience together, because I was living like 2 hours north of Austin at the time.
Waco?
Clean.
Oh, yeah.
Copper's Cove, clean.
And you said you played 7 rounds in that?
Fort Hood.
In 2 different years. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's match play.
Gotcha. Okay.
Match play. So, yeah, that's good because you can hold your own in match play then, right? I mean,
That's the thing about me. I'm not going to do a lot to impress you, but especially back then, I really didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. I
that's the key, right? You just
Name of the
you
game.
stay steady.
10:02, I think, at that point. I was rated a little over 1,000 at that point.
Nice.
And one of those rounds, the card was I was playing Feldberg, and Feldberg world champ. The other match on the card was Big Germ, world champ, and Phil Arthur, world champ, playing each other. Of course, I flubbed the first hole, gave it to Feldberg. Come around through 9, and I've got Feldberg by 1.
Oh, so you made a
And
little
then so we go to
comeback.
the back, and then like 2 or 3 holes later, here comes Terry Miller with the little bitty camera, And then hanging out with Terry, commentating is Paige Pierce, world champ, and Will Schustrick, 2 or 3 time U.S. champ at that point.
Yeah.
And long story short, that's probably one of the very few times that just nerves really got me because I ended up missing 2 putts, maybe 25 feet on 15 or 17, or Felber and I would have walked into 18 all square.
Man.
That's, I mean,
And that was like a 1-8 matchup, so it'd have been an 8 knocking off a 1.
And knowing what I know about match play here locally, it's rare that a higher seed beats a lower seed.
Well, especially when you get guys like Feldberg.
I mean, we're talking about Dave
Aren't
Feller,
phased by
right?
a lot,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I noticed, Jamie, everybody you said was world champ, but that's crazy, man. Just sit there and think
there-
about the company that you're in, right? And,
I've got there's a great picture of it somebody took, and every once in a while I'll kick it back up, and I'm like, yeah, what's out of place here?
If he can't, can't find the sucker at the poker table, well, then you're but that's not the case.
Yeah,
I
who's
mean,
the
wow,
1002
1002 guy, yeah, right?
Yeah, so where were they all at that point in ratings when you were 10:02? Where were
Oh man, that's
all of
back.
these-
That was either 11 or 12. That was the 2 years. I think it was 12. Because the continuation of that story is, I'm 2 hours north, so I come down and stay with a buddy. And I was telling this story last year, because it was like this 10 years ago. This is where we were. We're staying at Michael Moon's house, and on his floor in his living room is myself, some guy named Germ, who at the time, he's starting seeing all the commentating, doing all the other stuff. Some guy named Paul, and some guy named Ricky.
Man.
All sleeping on the floor in a 1-bedroom apartment. And I was like, now here we are 10 years later. You got 2 of them making $1 million a year, and the other guys doing all the commentating and everything else. And 10 years ago, we were all sleeping on the floor together.
Man, it
That's
just sounds
cool.
so much like traveling bands when you're young.
Sure, it's like,
Traveling just-
and I know Jamie but yeah, it's like seeing all the grunge guys together when
Just
you
all
see
for
them
the love of
hanging out. I saw a picture of, was it Ricky and Paul were really young? Who was in they were standing next to each other, and somebody said, "I'm going to say this is," it was, and they're really, Ricky was a really skinny guy. Maybe it was Big Germ in the middle. It was all 3 of them or something, but there was quite a few years back, and Mike brought it up the other day. People don't realize just how short Paul is, I don't think, right? Or I shouldn't say, he's an
a
average
smaller
sized man.
stature
I think
guy.
he's an average sized man, like 5'7", like Chris, little petite kind of guy. I mean,
Yeah, I think he's pretty close to my size, I think.
so
Maybe an inch or so taller.
And the fact that he rips as far as he does, same with Emerson, is even
Oh,
more
that's-
impressive.
Little Emerson is.
You've probably played a lot with him, right?
I
mean, in
I kind of
Texas
watched
and
him
stuff.
come up. Being from Texas, I saw a lot. It really is. He really is. I think he's more of an anomaly. Again, kind of Brad Hammock was like that back in the day, also.
Brad Hammock.
Yeah.
I have tried to recreate Emerson's. Just 'cause I'm like, if this guy's this size, go this far,
He's
I
so
should be able to do
compact.
this.
I
Yeah,
think-
it is it's a compact form. You're
I
right.
think about that with Paige Pierce. I just look at her. I know I've seen her. She's a small lady. I mean, nothing big about her. And man, she bombs, man, and it's crazy. Just
Timing and form.
timing and form, man. It's being able to get that wrist and your arm and your hips going all kind of at the same time, and because you feel it, right? You have enough good throws. Sucks you can't I can't.
Well, it's second nature to them at that point. They don't
Right.
have to think about it.
And yeah, the playing is so. I mean, they play so much. Everything is so consistent. And how much do you practice, Jamie? Like before a tournament for a week before.
Until the last 2 months, pretty much never.
Okay.
I practiced a lot back in my AM days and a little bit in the early pro days. But for the last decade, I've pretty much shown up and played tournaments, a few minis here and there. But since COVID, like I played a mini the other day, I was like, oh, I got to check in on U-Disc.
Do you know how to use?
I'm playing one of Wolford's minis.
Do you know how to use disc? Because, well, you're not in that age. I'm older than you, but man, these 60 guys, it's crazy to try to get them to get to use these U-discs, man. And I'm thinking, man, what's it going to be like in another 10 years? What am I not going to be willing to want to do? But I love U-disc. It makes it easy, and the scores are there. There's still people that want to keep paper cards and stuff. I'm just like, no, man. I'm not going to sit here and add this up. Just like,
It just has so many good tools. Why would you not use it at this point?
Well, there's going to be a lot more paper ad income next year. If that rule sticks, which
with all of them having
I
to keep
hope
score.
it does. That
Yeah.
we were talking about that this weekend also, and it was a consensus of
So you're going to have like 3 guys keeping U-disc and some other guy with the paper card because he doesn't want to keep U-disc.
Yep.
Yeah, the Bobby OGs. I think I got like 4 different accounts in the 501 for Bobby. All you got to have is an email address. And you don't have to pay any money for those for the club stuff or league stuff. But
It seems like every time you have to sign up.
yeah,
a
I
new
feel
name
like
for
I'm always
Bobby.
signing them up. But yeah, or I give, because I know people aren't coming in, I'll just give them to but I like it because I like the live scoring aspect for everyone. I hate when a card doesn't, I can't get mine on. And then they come in and that card somehow wins. Okay, I've run enough of these. No, that's kind of shady. But like 3 of the guys, they're all top 3. But I think everybody should be able to, just like on the PDGA app. I don't get why people don't want to keep score, man. If it's said this time and time again, especially the higher up you go, I don't want somebody to be putting I like to know that I'm keeping up with my score and put my scores in. You know about that, don't you, Mike?
I got
Yeah.
screwed
Yeah, you
over
did.
so
Man, that was a
bad.
rough one for you, dude.
Yeah.
What about
so-
you, Jamie? I mean, have you had like where you maybe won a tournament and then get it taken away because
Or you thought you won, but then when
somebody
you get
wrote down
to
the
it,
wrong, or because when you hit submit on that, we all know that's the
It's
gospel,
final.
right? So
No, I haven't. But back in the day, I saw somebody lose a tournament like that. Not adding it incorrectly. They just didn't add it.
So he's got,
Yeah, I have a
man.
similar story. So last year, it's
Oh, sorry,
no,
but
you're fine.
someone on the card knew it and didn't say something too, or it may have been the opposite. It may have been added incorrectly or something.
That's
but
crap.
someone knew and didn't say something.
Yeah,
that's
messed
crap.
up.
If they knew and didn't say something,
That's what
and
makes
let
it
it go.
worse.
But
Man,
it has been rectified since then.
Okay.
That's good.
Many years
overtake.
later, it was rectified. I do know that.
Well, that's what I'm curious about
Maybe
with
it's-
mine was because natural states that they have at this side, which is coming up. Last year, I went into it in a hole 18. I think I have a 2-stroke. That's what the PDGA Live says. I have like a 20-footer where the basket is on a gully, and I'm like, well, if I don't have to run it, why would I run it? And so before I pitch it up, I ask my card, are these scores good? Because I remember just before that, I had watched Sarah Hokum at the Tour Championship lay up because she didn't know scores and lose on like a 30-foot putt.
Yeah. Well,
And so that was in my head was I didn't want to do that. And so I asked them, we conferred for a few minutes. We said it was accurate. I laid up, I tap out, and then the tournament director comes up to me 10 minutes later and is like, hey, you have to go into a playoff. And I'm like, why? And apparently one of the scores was wrong. So then that leads me into eventually, thank goodness for me, a 7-hole playoff where I eventually did win, which is the only thing that makes the story worth it for me.
I was going to
You
say,
did win.
Yeah. I would have been so mad if I lost.
And we know a guy, Evan Booth, Jana's husband. I mean, he lost a tournament at PR because of that.
Yeah.
So always keep score.
Always, even if you're not keeping on the PDGA, which I would assume you should, because if there's a discrepancy in it,
It tells you.
It tells you. I mean, it's built in for you not to screw up. But if only one person's doing it on that and the other ones are keeping a paper card or U-disc or whatever, and that guy's still responsible, and then hopefully you all at the end of the round, which I know it doesn't happen in these C tiers. I know it does on the pro level, but on C tiers, they're not all getting around. Okay, all right, I got you at a 56, and you just hit submit and just keep walking.
Yeah.
You know, nobody says anything. But do you like knowing the scores when you're playing? Do you look at the PDGA live scoring?
I do.
And stuff? Okay,
I do. I've always been that. Before all of that, I always knew what everyone on my card was shooting.
it's easy. I do too. It's easy to keep up with in your head or have a good idea. And
then you're not surprised by anything either.
no, not at all.
And for those of you out there who's still trying to go to pdga.com/score or whatever,
Get the app.
just go download the app. That thing is so much easier and user friendly.
It is,
Thank
and
you.
you're right.
Man, I love the new proposed rules, so I hope it goes through because I'm always the guy that has to keep.
I'm always the guy that
I'm okay
keeps
with
score
it.
too, but I want to do it because I don't want to have to blame anyone for something like that. You know, that's why I always drive when I drink. Because if I'm drinking and driving with somebody else and I become a quadriplegic, you're not going to want to be my friend. I'm going to hex you for life. So I will quadriplegic myself.
This weekend is the first time I didn't have to keep score, and I don't know when.
Did you know what to do with yourself? Were you always getting in your phone?
Like even by the last one, I'm like, okay, guys, I was like, y'all want me to keep one? I'm like, we got him. Cool.
Nice. That's nice. And it seemed like some good dudes. There's a lot of good MP40s.
Yeah, I was happy. I got to play with Wags first round.
Okay.
And then I got to play with Derek last round.
And this is pretty much a tournament for these MP40 guys. Hit this one, then go up to, you're heading up to
Wags is the one who come back and got Dutch last round at Bud Hill. So Wags won Bud Hill last year. He's
Yeah, I watched that.
10.06 or something like that. He's the one I come back and called the last round.
You know, Wyman's jumping up in that 40 bracket, man. That is to me, I don't know. I think it's much more competitive than the MPO of. Now we're talking about Arkansas or just kind of regional disc golf, man. I think the MP40 field is like crazy good, much better than the MPO field. Looking at it like that, just because these guys know how to play disc golf, they've been playing for a while.
Well, that's kind of how I throw. I started playing with James Lacey, actually. James and I have known each other for years and years, and back in '99 is when I started playing disc golf.
99's when I started.
Okay, very cool. So I did not stick with it. In my 20s, I was doing other stuff. We'll just leave it at that.
That's one of my favorite things. I'm like, as someone who's literally, I've played tournaments for 25 years consecutive. Like, there are very few of us around. You'll see some that come and go, some of them get really good, and then they'll kind of fall off for a minute, and they totally disappear, and then they come back later, pick it back up, and they're still good. Or some that just come and go, but there's very, very few that have played tournaments consecutively for 2 decades or better.
Right. You're right. And you and James have been doing that, and you played in one of his tournaments just recently here at Stone Links in North Little Rock.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah. And what'd you think about the course?
I liked it. You can tell there's been a lot of work done. Poor Lacey went out, and I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but he had to have used 20 cans of paint.
Oh, you could tell.
We had him on the podcast, and I think that day,
Yeah.
like 7, just that day alone, that because he drove home and I was feeling good from all the. I mean, white paint. I don't know if white paint. I don't think it's got this. Anyways, I wouldn't know.
Something in it.
I wouldn't know. No, I do actually know. Sadly enough, but
He'd been up there for 6
he used a
hours.
lot of cans.
I know he did, and I'll tell you what, that saved a whole lot of confusion this week. It saved a lot of confusion. I know it was a pain in the butt for him and the other staff, but
So,
it really did help.
do you think you can play that saying tall grass in some of those areas without the paint? Like, It's tough to say that, right? That's why you have to paint all
tournament,
those lines.
tournament, especially in the conditions we were in this weekend, though.
You have to.
I mean,
paint.
our rounds were already 4 hours this week.
I believe it.
I
With people
assume it
looking
would
for
be.
discs.
Yeah.
And if you got to sit there and try and find discs, and then you have lost discs that people have to turn around and go.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, we had a 10 cup moment on our card.
What hole?
Oh, please.
13. It was
Okay,
brutal.
so
That's the one.
that's
I
the
was
one we
talking
want to hear about. We don't know about it.
It was
Go ahead.
my card was the one that totally derailed the entire tournament.
Was it to the long pin?
What's that?
Was it to the long pin?
To the
blue
long pin.
Oh man.
And why was this hole so hard? Because we saw some monster scores when we were looking earlier at some, and that hole seemed to just really trash people.
So it's kind of like an L, or almost
Right.
it's almost more like a 7 shape, because it's not a true L. It kind of cuts back in a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's the tall grass. You've got that one little tunnel you can see through. So I forget who was on the box. They go first. They hit and go OB long. So the next two come up, and both them shots, we're like, oh, that's right on it. Oh, they come up just short. And the next one in front of me comes up short. So I'm Bob on that one. I'm like, well, I ain't missing short. So I blasted it, and both of us that went long, we hit in and skipped out.
Well, that's the mistake
Okay,
there.
so-
Like, the mistake
Yeah,
is not to
you
be
have
short
to
or
miss
left.
Where is the OB painted on this? I know the hole. I know all these because
It's
there's usually no
The tall grass.
It's a pseudo island, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had to get up over that tall. I know because
You
there's
could- you
like
could
this
play straight
cutout,
down.
like- okay,
You could play straight down to the
Oh,
short bucket
That's what they were talking about.
and then go.
Mhm.
Okay, somebody was
Um,
talking about. Oh, Jesse was last night. You guys were talking about
They
that.
actually had to put 2 spotters on that.
Yeah, that's the one he was
Last
spotting,
round.
I believe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that and literally it was the spotter when we're all we're done. He calls them. I'm like, yeah, that was a good decision. So anyway, all 5 of us are OB. We get over there and see. So they elect to go back, and they, instead of going 20 feet off the tee and being up against the tall grass, which we'll get back to that in a second, they all chose to re-tee.
Oh my god!
So it was Canadian Mike's. Canadian Mike and I are on the green. I actually had some non-disc golf friends that walked with me. You probably saw the posts and stuff that I shared from her. Her and her.
I did see that.
Yeah. So they're there witnessing this too. So we're at the green watching these shots come in, and everyone that comes in, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good, that's good, that's good. And as soon as it started to turn the hyzer, man, just smashed it every single time. And they were landing, 4 to 12 feet from coming in.
There's no skip because you're landing in some
sand.
that.
And
Yeah, a lot of sand.
All grass.
sand and tall grass. Yeah.
So they just kept missing short over and over and over.
Kept missing short.
Oh,
Ah,
the
yeah.
10 cup moments. I love
Yeah.
that reference too, man.
And that's that's a that's crazy. It's a,
Yeah.
I don't know if ball golf had a Tim Cut moment or where the Kevin Costner movie came from, but
I don't know.
It was tough to watch, but I'm going to tell you what. Hats off to Chris Goodman, because after he took that 12 on that hole, yeah, a 12. he had, obviously it took a couple holes to lower the blood pressure a little bit.
Sure.
But after that, he ended up coming back. I didn't see, but the lead card who was behind us, I heard them talking afterwards. He's like, hey, Chris, because they're on tee watching him do all this. He's like, Chris shot 2 up after his 12 for the rest
Wow.
of the round. And I was like, yeah, and he took a bad luck double on the next to the last hole. I was
Wow.
like, he reeled it all the way, but he shot an even round other than that.
So he just had
after
2
that.
bad holes
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
killed it on
Yeah.
every other hole.
I haven't
But
seen.
he took that on the chin like a man. He didn't blow up, cuss, rant, rave, nothing. He just kind of got quiet in his own little world, and it took him a little while. But hats off to him for regrouping and not just leaving.
Way to
Honestly,
not DNF.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the other 11 players I thought we counted or whatever did. I haven't seen Chris in a while. He's out of Russellville. He's David Bevis's buddy, and same guy, right? That's who we're talking about.
I told Bevis he need to go up to him and give him a big old hug after the round.
A big hug. It would snap me like this.
He'd pick you up and take you home and
Yeah,
get like a little toy or
Like, I will
something.
go.
you know?
I will go.
He's such a good dude. He's in MP50 now, which is him and Mr. Westerman didn't have a good weekend this weekend.
I don't think Westerman's quite all the way healthy.
And I don't think Stoneling's just, Mike's such a good guy, like up at Mountain View, right? So I would think that's it.
I mean, don't kid yourself. When Westerman moved here, he was like in the 990s.
He was. I remember seeing him California. I think,
Yeah, and then
like
the
that.
Arkansas ratings got him.
Man, this is like these are some
Yeah.
dirty ratings here. This is
They
like
can be.
you earn them
Yeah.
here. I believe, right? I mean, because I was told
Well, that and a lot of the courses typically up here, AMs can turn around and shoot like the same rounds as the pros.
that's not
So-
good
Yes.
for ratings.
Yes.
More TDs are starting to get to because now there's more courses with more layouts, and they can put some of these AMs on a different layout so that they're not. Because we had that conversation, yesterday
Yep.
and the day before, Mike.
The separation is just not there on a lot. And especially like at Stonelinks, like if you put OB, that kind of creates that separation where a bad shot truly gets punished.
Man, I think that's the way to play that course. for
Oh,
sure.
well, this weekend, lots of those pars, because Wags and I were talking earlier, within the first 2 or 3 holes, we're on the very back stretch out there in the open. Oh, we're like, oh, yeah. Like, if you get a 3 on 15 today, that's pretty much a birdie.
It won't feel like it.
That's
That's
a
crazy
par
when you
4
start
today.
thinking about that, right?
You
Like,
know,
man,
hole 17 is short 17 is a par 5 today.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, short 16 is a 5 today. 17 is a 5 today.
How were the
That's just-
conditions out there?
I mean, it's windy. And then yesterday we had a shower either 4 or 5 times during the round.
So, yeah, you dealt with what?
I mean, nothing big, just enough to annoy you to
Yeah.
start covering everything up.
Wyman and I went and played before I had to go to meet my dad, and one freaking cloud, blue skies everywhere else, just peeing on us. Just like, here you go, guys, enjoy this. And like you said, just enough to get the disc and just not and make you very upset. That's
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
just starts changing your
Yeah.
mindset.
Oh, yeah, an
Like,
insult to
damn.
injury on the last hole for us. We had to wait, and then as soon as that group cleared, like that was some of those 20 to 25 gusts that we were having, and then the rain come in, and 4 of the 5 of us OB. And it was all like we all flipped it. We all took all the stuff that we've been throwing the whole round that was overstable and cutting the wind, and every one of them said, "Whoop!"
Wow. So, yeah, that would be what my disc would do. I have some overstable stuff, but for Mike, they're not overstable. Him at all. Flipping those things over with no
Yeah.
wind.
I love my Venom. That's all I'm going to say.
So what bag do you throw now? What disc are you representing? A disc golf brand? Are you representing a company like your bag or anything? Like that?
Only people I represent a little local shop, that also does like tournament series, one star disc golf,
Okay,
based out of Victoria.
cool. So you're throwing a mixed bag.
Mixed bag.
All right.
Most of it is either Innova or MVP. Things I'm really leaning on right now. For my forehands, it's the really old champion bosses, which
Oh,
I lost 4th hole this weekend, and those are the flat top ones that I throw my forehands with turnover.
It's out there somewhere.
Well,
I mean, we can go look for
Ask
it.
Drew.
the spot. I
Yeah.
told the spotter like when it out there, it was like 60, 70 feet out in the bushes out there. It flipped and just sailed.
yeah.
And I
Oh.
told the spotter, I'm like, bro, I got $20 if you get that one back to me.
Man,
And knowing it was never coming back.
Oh, this is like way out there.
Yesterday after the tournament, I come say, hey, he's like, leave anything out there? I was like, no, not that I know of. Because I'd written that thing off. It's long gone.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, really? He comes back over there, and it's Will Harrison had found my disc.
Nice.
I'm like, bro, what were you doing
The
out
Wizard.
there? Where that was
That
at?
was
What did you
really
throw to get out there?
The wizard was out there doing some wizardry things, and we and that's another one we're gonna have on. Will is a story
that'd be
we
good.
do want to tell because he's.
Hey.
I know Will. I don't know how to say it. Not rubs. Yeah, he rubs
No,
people the wrong way.
Will
I
marches
mean,
to the beat of his own
He
drum.
does, and not everybody marches to that beat, and it rubs them the wrong way. But Will is who he is, and that's who you need to be in life, right? You don't
Yeah,
need to be
right. Be who
I
you
mean,
are, man.
Be who you are, and what makes you comfortable. And if it makes other people uncomfortable, that's their problem.
His hype music doesn't bother me.
No, it was funny. Where was that? It was Mountain View, and no, it was the up there at Mossy Bluff when we played that one, and somebody's banging some EDM music, and,
Oh,
and I was
I
just
knew
like,
this.
sweet, man. I was like liking it, and yeah, as Will, as the wizard over there in his van and stuff like that. So.
Mikey's that way too. I don't know if y'all know Mikey Siebert or not.
I do, yeah. I got to play with Mike.
Mikey is the epitome of don't judge a book by its cover.
I totally agree.
Yeah, Mikey is a super great dude. I guess unfortunately he bailed early this weekend. I think he played one round and left. He's on his way. I know Will also is on there, but they're going to North Carolina to the MT finale.
Okay.
Again.
The DGMT?
Yep.
Oh, Masters.
Golf Masters Tour.
Did they play at the same place? Did you say North Carolina?
They're playing in North Carolina somewhere.
Always in North Carolina.
I want to
There's
say it
so many courses.
was at the same place that the girls played earlier this year, I think.
Okay.
I may be
The
mistaken on
regulator?
that, but I'm not sure.
Is that the name of the course?
Yeah, the one they did for U.S. Women's. If that's what you're talking about.
I
Speaking
don't know
of
if it was the
reg-
U.S. women ones or the ones they played earlier in the year where it was like Blue Ridge or something like that.
Oh, in North Cove.
Oh man,
That is one of the most beautiful courses.
I'm
by the way.
I'm not exactly. I know it's there, and
I'll look it up.
I thought
I was
someone
gonna-
at some point said something to me that that's the same place it was going to be.
okay.
typed in G.
I do know U.S. Masters is North Carolina next year, and it's talking about Wooded. I'm probably going to go play that.
Man, that's what everybody says. You've mentioned it several times, Mike. We were talking, last night about the Pro Tour, Nevin, and how awesome. In that area, there's 26 or 29 courses in that city.
Lot. Dense.
Oh yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina is kind of like Cali, and they're a mecca.
Yeah, it's the hub.
They're playing
right now.
North Cove.
North Cove, yeah. Okay, so you're right. That's Blue Ridge.
Marion, North
That
Carolina.
was a pretty course.
Yeah,
Oh,
beautiful.
man. Gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a shame we're not going back to that.
It's kind of funny. You was asking about Woods golfer. I played with James on Thursday, I guess. He's kind of showing me around. We're on hole 8. He's like, "We're about to get to your favorite hole."
Hole 10.
Yeah. And so we're out there. So I'm on 9. I'm like, "Hey, cool."
You're like, where are the trees at, right?
And then we
That's
walk
the
up
first
to
thing I think of.
Oh yeah, we walk up to 10, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, here we go." I was like, "Give me 18 of these, and I'll play open."
But it's like they lull you to sleep with that shot that you have to. Well, especially when there's no wind, that course is. I feel like it's for dudes who can throw 350.
Throwing darts.
Yeah, that's what you're doing, throwing lawn darts now all of a sudden, and just trying to get them to land in these spot. And I feel like that wind you guys were playing in. I was throwing at the arena. I was like, this is BS. I'm because I take my disc out in the parking lot and I'll throw them. I was like, I can't imagine. I started thinking about stone links. I was like, I can't imagine what that wind's out there like.
It was tough conditions this week. Tough conditions.
It's hard to be in tough conditions and sunny. The only other place I know of that have tough conditions is PR. I mean, it just always feels like there's always a 10-mile-an-hour wind that you're going against or you're throwing with. Because it's just the way that course is set up. So
Yeah, I lived in Round Rock for years.
Yeah, so
you get used to that. Round Rock's the wind tunnel. You guys probably don't know the history of Round Rock.
Actually, I heard a little bit when I was down at DGT. Like
and that
2 years
course
ago.
they used to host the World Doubles there.
Yeah, Round Rock is the reason I joined the PDGA because we were in Shreveport. We played the Southern Nationals events, but every year they would go to World Dubs in Round Rock. So yeah, my first 2 or 3 years, the only PDGA events I have are doubles events
Oh, nice.
because we would always go over there and play, and that's the only reason we joined. Well, that and to get the magazine.
Well, and
Back then, the magazine actually had some really good stuff in it because you didn't have the internet or YouTube or any of that other stuff. There was actually good articles and stuff in it and some really informative stuff. And then, like I said, it's how we figured out where we were going to play.
I felt like I was hungry right here.
I love how that's a Calvin one. Of course
of course it is. Why it's on this table.
Yeah.
So
The Calvin disc that he puts under his arm.
half the pages don't open. Oh, what's the deal?
It's kind of sticky.
I actually made one of the magazines from Little Rock.
Okay.
That was when it was Flying Disc magazine. I forget when that was. I think it was one of the years when Southern Nationals were here.
Where did they play here?
Had to be burned.
2009. You had a couple of years there where Doug ran some stuff where he had some really big events in Little Rock.
Doug Trantham.
Yep.
Another name I've heard a ton. You just hear like Jamie's and Lisi's. You just hear these guys' names, because they do so much and they do a lot for disc.
So, Mike, what you got? You got any questions?
Yeah, I got one circling back, kind of talking about your bag. Do you have a favorite disc or mold?
I heard it.
You want to answer it?
It's a DX 1990 DX Rock.
Oh my god!
That's no. It's
Your car.
well.
Or DX Thunderbird, T-Bird, T-Bird.
DX T-Bird.
T-Bird.
I have thrown DX
DX T-Birds,
since
sorry.
they first came out, and yeah, pretty much everybody that's known me for a while is that when they say, and they're like, "What was that?" And
T-Bird.
the few that have played with me for a long time, but it's like a rock that will go 50 to 80 feet farther.
Yeah.
With I can throw more under control and get that little bit of extra dip.
Yeah.
I threw that actually quite a bit this weekend out there.
Know that you can rely on it.
Yeah.
What's the oldest one you have in your bag?
My main putter right now
Yeah.
is 1998 Ice Bowl AVR.
That's so cool.
Then I have a first run bar stamp DXT bird in the bag. See, I have another DXT bird from 2001 in the bag.
How chewed up are these discs?
That's a great question.
They've taken a little beating here in the last month or so.
I mean, to have them to this.
I've got a stack. Yeah, I've got a stack. Yeah, I've got a
Okay,
stack.
yeah.
That one
lot
gets
of-
bad. That's the thing. I keep one that's kind of new, one that's straight, and then one that's I can throw like this, and it's gonna
Yeah.
go all the way over.
Well, that brings me to another question. Are you a understable or an overstable guy? And then a second question is, are you the type that likes to throw everything on one angle, or do you like to manipulate?
Okay. Mostly understable. My forehand disc or really overstable disc.
Yeah.
because I'm forcing them
Cranking
over.
on it.
Yeah, just my years of baseball. It's more comfortable
Yeah.
for me to throw like that than down here.
And it's easier to control a forehand like that.
Well, if you get into the angle of like win this weekend, and then I lost that disc, and I
Yeah.
couldn't like a lot of those. I was planning on throwing forehand just for wind angle. That's the main thing with wind. You don't want to get the wind on your backside. You want
Yep.
that wind to work with you instead of against you. But then I lost, and I thought I had a backup with me. I had this nice 2013 orange boss, just like I lost, and looked at it. I'm like, oh, that ain't flat. That's like real dummy. And I threw it twice in the field, like I would throw that other one, and it just brand new. It just annied the entire way till it landed, and I was like, no. I ended up giving that to Lisi before I
Not
left.
quite the same.
Boss was actually a disc that I threw a lot when I first started playing. Back when I started playing again. So yeah, lightweight star, good and stable enough for me. But I also like the DX Boss. When I started playing again at 33.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, I kept one of those, and you beat them in a little bit. They would actually have an S turn to them. So.
And then, yeah, the second part of your question there, I'm a lot more of angle, and I'm put a lot more hyzer flip on my stuff.
Yeah.
For me, I've kind of come to the realization of late that I'm better, and I will still get more distance if I throw the low laser, because I've been trying to get some more
I'm
height
the
and
exact
distance.
same way.
You'd rather be a
I'll
Calvin
lose
than an
distance
Isaac.
the more air I get. If I
Yep.
get over 8 to 10 feet, I'll start losing a little deep.
Yeah, like the nose control just isn't as good on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the exact same way. Love that.
Have you thrown the Rolo?
I have not.
Whoa.
Speaking, I can get it to hyzer flip, so that tells you right there.
About the alien.
You could not?
I can. No, I can.
Okay.
It's a fun disc. It's a shot shaping dream. It really is.
You have to have serious finesse.
The alien's fun.
Alien's fun.
Yeah, I love the way. I have a Sonic. I've never really been a fan of it. An old Air Force stamp one.
It's at the end yesterday, Jay and I, Redding, as I'd mentioned, they had one, 13 Peaks had one on the table. I was like, that's actually a pretty fun disc. And something else come up, and Jay was talking about, yeah, it's like they're surprisingly stable for what they are. And he's like, yeah,
They're
it's
useful.
everything.
The
He's like, if you
alien?
like the Sonic, it's everything the Sonic is not.
Okay, the alien. Then yeah, everybody picks it up, throws it, thinks it's going to be understable, and then yeah, it kind of hyzers out on them, and they're like, oh, okay. I go, yeah, it will hold a line, and the Rolo will too. You can just throw that out so high, and just like that way. You know, it's just the equivalent to a flick for me. So same line, pretty much.
Put it on a. And
It's
it
vertical.
flipped up and right.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's too much pop.
But you were talking about that arrow. It's a pretty big I feel like it's the roll because it's a 180. You know, a lot of people didn't know that different size disc, and you can have a 180 gram and a 175 gram. That's why they're like, when they see this 180 gram, they're like, how come this is beyond max weight? And it's just like, I think it's 8 1/4. What is it? With the big one, I forget the big.
My diameter.
Diameter, yeah, because the one the like because you can have mid ranges.
You think about the old Condors and Jaguars
Yeah.
and stuff.
Wow.
Those things are
Super
even
glasses.
bigger. Yeah.
That I'm not sure, but
Condor.
I've got another 2-part question. What is your favorite course that you've ever played? And then what is the one course that you haven't played that's number 1 on your bucket list?
I'll tell you, if Whistler's Bend had some par 4s, it would probably knock Maple Hill out of the number 1 spot.
Okay.
Oh.
Where's Whistler's Bend at?
It is down, I think it's just south of Eugene.
Oh, Oregon. Okay.
Ooh, yeah, I want to go there.
It
I
is,
can imagine that's an
it's
ugly course.
27 holes, par 3, and it is not even
27.
close on being the most scenic disc golf course I've ever played.
Really?
Like there's not even a close second for me.
You throw through redwoods or something, or I mean, or
Not
you're on
those.
the PCH or something like that.
There's lots of elevation, but then there's rivers, there's mountains in the background. It's just absolutely stunning.
I got it right here. Ah.
27 holes, par 3. I like one of them, one of the par 3s, I forget, maybe 17, I think. It was 640 something, and the buddy I was with threw 100 feet deep OB with a rock. That's and the hole was 640.
These are insane.
crazy.
This picture, the first one that pulled up on UDisc is ridiculous. I mean,
Oh, it is.
beautiful.
I mean, it is
I'm looking it up.
absolutely
So check out-
beautiful.
What is it? Whistler's
Bend.
Whistler's Bend.
Yeah, man.
I think the prettiest course I ever played on was Lake Dillon in Colorado. It was everything you thought Colorado disc golf would be. Have mountains in the back, climb up a huge hill, and or huge mountain. You just threw essentially downhill. Like there was a dude who had one arm, did an end of a video, had one arm and threw it, and it was the downhill shot. That was from that course. Mitch, I can't say that. Never mind. Sorry, I'll tell y'all later why I can't say that. But I'm not sure his wife ever watches this. We went to Colorado during COVID, and I felt like I was cheating on. I was his other. I wasn't supposed to go with him, but anyways.
What?
Yeah, it's weird, but
Where are we going with this?
nothing. No, we had a great time, man. Locked the keys in the car as soon as we got to the dispensary. It was a great time, and but that throwing that downhill, man. I love watching those shots. It's not for me. It's tough to throw, right? It's tough to gauge because those things are like 700-foot downhill kind of shots, right?
Well, how much practice do you ever get with
It-
like that?
It's like hole 14 at Sherwood. That's about the only time you ever kind of get.
Yeah.
Oh, anywhere close? Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't realize the holes like that. A lot of time, you don't need to be throwing driver.
Right, and that's
You
normally
need to
what
be
you're going to
throw-
step up with, right? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
Think you can bomb it?
800,000 feet down there. Oh, let me. I learned that when I was throwing that arrow a lot. Like at that waterworks, there were a bunch of. I buried so many 400-foot holes with basically a putter because
Just letting it
you
glide.
get it
on
flipped
them.
to get it straight, and it'll hold to where your drivers. I mean, it's just physics.
Yeah. it just
What
wants
what
to
happens
move
with
a
the
lot more.
disc? They pop out. I mean, I don't know if have y'all ever seen the video of Lane King back in 03 at Flagstaff? It's like a 800-foot downhill hole,
I think I have seen that video. Yeah.
and the group in front of her is putting out down there, and she launches off. And I think I remember. I may be mistaken on this, but I think I remember that it was a mid-range. She blasted off, and literally ends up hitting cage on the green while the girls were down there putting and ran them off the green.
Video.
A
Yeah.
Reeman in there.
Who's throwing up on it? Yeah.
Then they looked back at the tee and went, "Oh."
No shit.
Have you been hit by disc golf? Speaking of which, I mean, that kind of made me think. Have you been just drilled? I've seen some people get hit in that. Like, guy had like a gash across his face the other.
Nothing real hard. I mean, way back when CE plastic first came out, I watched a dude get knocked
That's Champion
out cold.
Edition, Jesse.
Yeah,
by the
I
way,
got it.
Champion Edition.
Oh.
I didn't know. That's Jesse Jumpman Moore over there. If you didn't know him,
Guy rating jump man.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like dude literally got knocked cold out, peed himself, knocked
Oh,
out.
no.
Yeah.
So,
The guy getting hit in the dome. That had to be the worst, probably on film I've ever
by
seen.
Eagle? Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, that's
that was
brutal.
That sounds.
That
still
cannot feel good because that was a driver, right? Or
It was a
that was
splice.
Yeah,
Oh my
which
God,
is
those
a really
things
sharp
are like
disc. Oh, man.
razor blade or
Yeah.
saw blades.
Yeah.
And eagle, it's eagle throwing, so you know it's literally coming from the
And
heavens.
if it goes, so the velocity, how's that work? If it goes up it comes back down at the same velocity as it goes up. Is that right?
No velocity.
Yeah. So
Hold on one
yeah, it's coming down pretty fast too. That's gotta hurt.
I'll tell you what, our drives at Persimmon on hole 1 this afternoon, they were coming down a whole lot faster than they left the hand.
Meter per second squared.
Meter per
off.
second.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I was agreeing with you. I was agreeing.
Yeah, it's giving you.
No, I'm not doing that here.
Oh yeah, no, there was massive winds. Like all our stuff was turning over, and then when it got to you could tell it was picking up speed as it was
That's-
going down.
That's fun to throw, persimmon. Yeah,
That's the first
I
time I'd
can
actually
see that.
played that tee pad on that hole.
Oh,
yeah,
up at the
you-
golds up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the men tee pad up there.
It's so fun.
MA1 and above.
I'm not sure
It must
I'd
have
even make
special
it down off of the
Actually, I get scared.
sidewalk.
It's funny, none of us crossed the creek. Like we each threw, 3 of us threw 3 drives, and not a one crossed the creek.
That wind
wind was
comes up
nasty.
it comes up that channel or whatever you want to call
Like
it.
we were throwing them 70, 80 feet left of the tee with hyzer, and they were still just flipping over and coming down and hitting. All 3 of mine landed in the creek.
That's my usual spot for that. I don't play it there.
I was
much
like, really?
for-
All 3 are in the creek? That's how we're going to start?
Yeah. Let's go.
God, then the upshot, and then it's a tough course and win. There's no doubt about it, man. It's another one that it's not as open. Stone Links. Stone Link makes me feel like I'm going to Galveston and I'm about to hit the. Just feel like
Sand.
It is a different kind of vibe.
It is. It is not. It's not Burns Red or Rez RIP. We're seeing who can say that more.
Well, RIP. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not your typical course for Arkansas. You wouldn't expect to see that. Even when it was a golf course, you didn't
Links is
expect a
different, right? There's
Link-style
one out in
golf course.
Cabot, Greystone, is a Links golf course out there.
Yeah, that's the next
I-
one we're going to turn into a disc golf
I
course.
think Stone Links was a really appropriate name for that disc golf course because that's James kind of said something about it. I'm like, yeah, it's Links disc golf is really what
That's
it is.
what it is.
It's a great point. I never
It's a
thought about
beautiful
that.
course.
Not everything has to be wooded or ball golf turned into disc golf courses. I drove by the Arnold Palmer or whatever driving range. I was like, man, there's got to be an opportunity there, dude, because that guy gets like 3 people in there to hit a bucket of balls.
I don't know how he's still. Man.
I don't either. Up at University, have you driven by that? It's got
The
a
one
big
with the
golf
big
ball. Oh
ball.
yeah, but,
Oh yeah, it's all beat up now.
Yeah, I used to go there all the time when I was in college.
yeah, I did too. That's the only course I took in college that I went to.
I'm gonna check this course out in Eugene.
Yeah, you gonna go?
It's so worth it.
My dad's best friend lives in Eugene.
Road
trip.
cool.
Take me with you.
We traversed the whole state when we were up there too, and had a good time. It's kind of funny in Bend where Val and Nate's brewery are. That's where our buddy that moved from Austin, he lived up there,
Okay.
and
No girl that.
half or better of the courses there don't have buckets.
Yeah, it's one of those. What did we talk? Object. Yeah, they were
They're,
talking
they're
about it on our
on
plane
they're
the other
on
day.
Bureau land management land.
Yeah.
And he took us out and played one of those, and it was actually really fun. And it's literally nothing permanent can be out there, so it's a stick with Some of them had a 5-gallon bucket on them. Some of them had the old metal coffee cans. Like one we played was a tuna can.
Oh, hey.
Good
On
luck
top
with
of a
that one.
stick, and you had to hit the tuna can. And it was basically, one person adopted a hole and helped take care of it. But no T-pads, no nothing like that. But that was actually pretty fun.
Was there anybody doing any drugs out on the course? Because everything's legal in Oregon, so pretty much just shoot up.
That was
on
in 2019, so I'm not sure.
No,
other
yeah, I
than
don't think it's legal
Portland,
then,
other
yeah.
than Portland, I don't know that it was at the time.
Go to Portland, get your psilocybin, and go back to the course. You've played the culvert course in Monroe.
I have
Call that
not.
thing.
Chenault.
Yeah, at Chenault.
I played Chenault with buckets. I have not played
the
the
bucket
Chenault
course. Yeah.
culverts.
So it's
Bossier had an old culvert course too that was there a long time ago. I never played it.
Yeah, I guess it is bucket course. We're talking about those.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I called it. They have this old bucket course, big concrete.
Or culverts.
Culverts. Yeah, big concrete culverts.
And it was fun. Would you chew your disc up?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of your like really really old timers have that up and down drop putt because they were used to dropping them in the culverts.
There was
Pitching
2
washers.
there a week, man. And you can go over there and jump in with them. They would whoop you.
That's cool.
It's kind of funny. You're talking about that in the putting. I'll tell you what. Before we go there, let's hit your part 2.
Oh yeah.
That's probably Idlewild.
Yeah.
It's going to be somewhere wooded.
And it's not even that far away from here.
What is it up in Minnesota? Is it the Preserve or
Preserve
whatever it is?
is
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
What's the dad's course? Is that the dad's course that James?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be in this weekend at Bud Hill also.
Yeah, Bud Hill this weekend.
And
play
then
that next year.
and then after Bud Hill, what do you got after that? Is it Lake Claiborne?
Well, I go home. We were supposed to have a Masters tournament at the course at the house.
The ranch, which
The ranch, yeah.
what's the name of the town? I can't. W.
Welder.
Welder. Okay, I was gonna say Wilder.
Basically,
but-
the A is silent.
Okay.
The ranch was on some coverage, wasn't it?
It was on OTV Skins, where we had Gannon and Ezra and Alden, and then Mason kind of as the local guy. And I also did a video. I hung out with Connor O'Reilly while he did his walk.
You got some appearances on that video. I saw you a couple
Yeah.
times.
He didn't get the 90-footer for par I made.
Just having to leave those out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it, but I didn't get it.
Speaking of Connor, he reached out to me and he was he was traveling to JBO or whatever, and talking about he wanted to do a little clinic at Burns. I was like, man, I don't know if you heard, but Burns is gone, man.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. So and by the time he got that message, he'd already come through because I was going to try to set him up somewhere else because I don't understand why more of them don't do that. That's how I saw Nate Perkins and James Conrad. This is really my first introduction. I paid $30 to go out there and get a sweet Owl stamp Discmania disc and they threw I was like, oh wow, man, these guys can really bomb. James Conrad, like at that time I'd never seen anybody on hole 5 on blue even reach past it.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, man, that's pretty far. That's pretty good.
That's gonna be a scary tee pad for him too, with how he runs up and gets off the tee pad.
And I guess he was doing that back then, but I didn't ever get to meet him. But that was what I was getting at is that's a good guys carry with all these discs. It's got to be a good cash grab. Just drop in, get your face out there, watch my YouTube video because that's where it's at now. Is content, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you make content, Jamie?
Not the kind we can show.
No. A little bit here and there. I want to try to start doing a little more, and like I said, I may hit up a couple at the end of the year, and that's going to require me to do some more. But
That's in the plan in the off season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help you.
Heck yeah.
I like doing these podcasts. I do. Mike, I was like, man, I want to do something different. The content, there's got to be something different to do out there. Just have to think about it, about what it is, because everybody's kind of doing a video, talking.
these are the types of things I enjoy. Like I sit here and watch a lot of like Mace has been doing some podcasts with some people, and I'll sit back and because he's doing like some really old
Mason 4?
No, Mace Man, Brian
Mason.
Mace.
Okay. That said Mason 4. I was like, wow, okay, good for him, man. Yeah.
Talk.
Not sure he does talk.
Mason's pretty quiet.
He seems like that.
Him and Val and Alexis actually come to the house and play quite a bit.
Okay.
You know, it's the ranch is open to all Team Mint members, so
Okay.
they can come anytime.
How long were you with Mint?
6 years.
Okay. Great plastic.
Yeah.
All MVP made, right? So.
It's now been officially announced. Yes, it's
I didn't
they
know
are
that.
molded by MVP.
Oh, it wasn't.
No. For years, you know, it was just kind of under the table. I mean, everybody assumed
I mean, the plastic
But
looks the same as
plastic,
I
the
mean,
stickers and everything looked the same, but there was nothing official. But no, Mint made an announcement a few months ago that it was molded by MVP.
They feel great. I mean, MVP. That disc, the wave I gave you,
I love that thing.
this feels
That's
really
the
good.
farthest flying disc in my bag.
Oh man, he gave me this one. So nice.
It's
Yeah,
he
I've
didn't
got
like it
the
at first.
Fission Wave right now. Like if it's not windy, that's the farthest flying disc I have.
Okay, would the fission be
It's
more
like it's-
stable?
I thought it was at first, but everybody else is saying it's less. Everything I read on it says it's less stable.
Okay, yeah, I've heard differing statements. I don't know enough about it.
I wanted to ask him, and I know we're out of time, but
This is, yeah.
sure. I wanted to ask. I mean, clearly, disc golf's growing. Is it growing in the right direction, in your opinion? I mean, the way that I'm not sure even what that like because you got pro level and then you got am level. I mean,
I'm so happy that there are people, you know, out there now that can actually make a living doing it. You know, that's what we always wanted back in the
You
day.
guys did some real hustle. I mean, that's some real travel that you have to do. You got to pay your dues, right?
Absolutely. I mean, nowadays the kids coming out. It's kind of funny because it's funny seeing things come and go over the years, kind of like the what's a made put rule, you know, and you know it's changed so many times over the years. Well, what a lot of people don't know, when I first started playing, Masters was 35,
I heard that. Actually, I was hoping they'd bring that back.
and I foresee that coming back pretty soon. You know,
Okay.
that's one
I
thing
don't
I
know why
noticed.
it's
It was
not.
like 35, 36 is when I noticed that first. I mean, that's like a little sore, you know, after a tournament or
Yeah,
something.
oh, yeah.
You know,
You're right.
and that was about it. And as I had a couple of other people say something, you know, and I kind of foresee it. And we may get back to I don't know, we'll see. But you may do a 45 to 55 instead of a 40 to 50, and then a 50 to 55.
So I'm going to be pretty upset though when they do that, because the idea is to get away from a couple of these younger players for a year or two. They're just younger than I am.
I was talking with Abe yesterday. I'm like, hey Abe, how old are you?
Abe's no spring chicken, man.
I'm 10 ahead of Abe. So I was like, okay,
Okay,
I'll see you on the way out, buddy.
Yeah, that's it'll probably happen next year. They'll make it there.
Just for you.
Really? And yeah,
You're like, I thought I could get away from it, but I guess not.
yeah,
The guys
coming
that-
to get me again.
Yeah, that raised a stink when it first happened, but they did grandfather all the guys in. The ones that were, 36, 37, they still let them play in Masters
Oh,
when they
okay.
turned to 40.
That's
Yeah.
good because that's
Yeah.
5 years. That's a lot. 1 year, I would get, but 5 years, you're really allowing a lot of people to get grandfathered in. That's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, we just didn't have that many players back then either, though.
yeah.
Not like it was today.
I mean,
at least.
Like I was saying, the MP40, every tournament you look at, I shouldn't say every tournament. The guys know when to show up, and you can see people are paying attention to who's showing up because they all kind of join. I feel like, especially around here, any of the bigger ones.
It's like this coming weekend, we've got a guy out there who's a COVID golfer, and we kind of touch back on your question there. He's Masters age. He plays every single day. I think he's up to like 994 or 995
Whoa.
now. And he's been playing 3 years at Masters age.
That's cool.
And playing only in Masters. Well, occasionally he'll play something open. I mean, he went up and beat Brinster in Vermont up there.
Wow.
So,
Playing 3 years? I believe it, though. There's so many people playing for short periods of time that are.
There's just so much information.
There's a ton of information. Like Jamie was saying, when we started playing, you had a magazine that I didn't even know existed. The only people that were showing you were the guys that were getting wasted and smoking dirty reg. So there just wasn't a lot of quality throwing. Now I feel like every time I go to the course, it's just like somebody, damn, that guy's throwing really well. That guy's throwing.
Well,
really
the blueprint's made.
It's out there.
You just have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and there's ton of plastic of
That's
all
what I was about to
shapes,
say. Plastic
sizes,
technology.
and you pick one up and how it feels to you and how you throw. That's the Rolo, by the way.
Guaranteed to roll.
It's
Man, I
guaranteed.
think that's kind of stingray-ish, huh?
It's nice. But you got so many makers out there. Before it was just Innova and Discraft, right? And then who else?
Well, you had Lightning back then.
Lightning,
also.
that's right. Yeah. I remember, and I didn't know anything, and I thought Millennium was something special, but
Millennium's been around since
well,
like 95, I believe.
I heard that Millennium. I saw the deal that said Millennium was supposed to be the upper echelon plastic for Innova. That's why that was created like that. Because Innova was only supposed to be like DX and. Yeah, I read people.
Probably.
I got nothing else to do with my
It's about
job.
Innova. I know you.
I love it. I mean, I text Dave all the time. He doesn't get them, but I text him all the time.
He does.
So, and what was your last question? Because I think there was something else.
Oh, well, that question I
Because there was something else I think I was going to touch on there.
Oh, I was talking about
Yeah, it must-
disc golf. How you see it? Is it heading the right way?
That was it. Okay.
How you feel? I mean, local levels is tough.
I think we've experienced the COVID boom. This has been a topic of discussion the last 2 or 3 months with a lot of people. Tournament participation is going back down. A lot of these
Big
people are
time.
going back to doing the things they used to do. You've pickleball. There's always something new. They have the claim now that we used to have back in the early 2000s of the fastest growing participation sport.
Mhm.
It was developed for old fat people. I'm glad you young people play it.
Overall, I think, we're going to experience growing pains. I mean, that's what happens with growth. And experience as fast as growth as we had during COVID. I mean, we were bound to have some issues there. But overall, I mean, it's good. We're starting to get some outside disc golf corporate sponsorship out there. And if any of you are listening, go support those people. Like I have,
Buy a bunch of Barbasol.
I'll tell you
Please.
what.
Love
And
LLB.
here's a little plug for you. If you're around a halal, guys, go eat because that stuff is good.
You know,
is
okay,
good.
we were talking about that. We see it all the time here. Obviously, where's the closest one, Jamie? You would know better than anyone.
New York.
I know you eat it.
I looked to see if they had any in Little Rock because I would have stopped at them.
No,
then.
no,
It's not close.
Just so happens,
Houston?
I'm temp shifting, yeah. So where I'm at, I'm driving like an hour and 20 minutes to work for temp work during the day. I had one that was 2 miles down the road from where I was working at, and so I went down there and tried it, and it was really, really good. And then my roommate Adam, the guy that owns the ranch, he stopped at a couple of different ones in Houston and one of the ones in Dallas area. I know 4 or 5 people that have specifically, went there and ate. And I actually messaged the halal guys and told them, hey, went there, tried your food, really loved it. And I specifically went there because you guys sponsored disc golf. And I know several other people that have been and more that are going to go when they're in the area.
I love that. Personally, I
Yeah.
really love that.
That is
And, I got a response from them, thanks. We love our ties with the disc golf community.
very cool. Yeah. I mean, it's super important. That was one thing that they were talking about on the commentary, or at Nick and Matt show brought it up too, that larger sponsors are what disc golf needs to progress.
Yeah, that's the next step forward.
The closest one is Plano.
Let's go.
We're going southeast Texas disc golf here, or northeast Texas disc golf here.
I'm
We
sure you
come.
played Tyler.
I actually lived. Funny story. I worked in Tyler for 3 or 4 years,
Okay.
and at that, like 3.5 years in, I played the Texas States there. I was playing the course blind.
How did that go?
I really enjoyed that course, man.
I'll
probably
take
did
that back.
well.
I'd played it like 12 or 13 years before, so I might as well have been blind.
Yeah.
Courses change over that amount of time. Courses change.
Yeah.
Hell, I ended up third, and my last putt, it was in a big smashing headwind. It chained out,
Chino.
And I'm pretty sure it was from like 55, 60 into a headwind up over the hill. And I'm pretty sure if I'd have made that, Tony Shirley would have missed the one he eventually made to get, I think it was second out. Yeah, it ended up being like $500 difference. Putt change.
Oh,
Crazy.
Mike, what else you got?
That's it for me. That's all the questions I had prepared.
Man, well, back on time. I tried for like 3 years to get down there and play that when I was.
You know what? Trying. There is no try. It's either do or don't. I got it in my room right over there.
You're right.
Yoda for life.
But never made it. But what?
Hey, Jumpman. Jumpman. This segment's officially sponsored by J-Mo the Jumpman. He said something, so here we go.
All right. What you got, young man? Okay.
Once again, there you are.
That's what he's got.
That was J-Mo for like 45 minutes on the day he hit his ace, his first ace. We did a podcast, and that was him. It was really me and Chris on. We're trying. Yes.
No, I'm okay. I'm good.
No.
Oh, man. That was.
No, it's not deleted. It's just
it's on there.
First ace. DX Stingray skip ace.
Oh man, that's a.
skip ace on top of that.
Skip with a DX Stingray.
All right. What do you think about the Stingrays that just came out? The Halo ones.
I mean, any Halo disc is not what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. They're a way more overstable version of what the disc they're actually supposed to be
I have
is.
so many of those discs in my bag. Mike and these guys play enough with me, and now it's that the Isaac disc,
The archive.
the archive.
That is nice.
Same thing. Something you can just set out, and you know it's going to hold the line, and if you angle it right, it's going to flatten out, or it's going to fade back for you. Like if you, a rock. I've never carried a rock in my bag, Mr. Innova. White trash version of Dave Dung Pants or whatever his name is, and Dung Pants is that what it's
Done a pace.
Dung Pants. And his videos, man, he's funny to watch. And the dude he plays with that's able to putt, the dude just putts, man, and he putts that way too. They do that. The Dodfather Sam putts like that.
Putting's where it's at, man.
Yeah,
That's
and Jamie knows that better than anyone. God.
Spin or push.
That's the only way I competed for years and years and years in Open in Texas. You know, them guys were throwing 100 to 200 feet farther than I.
Right, and you have to hit that 60-footer where they got the 30-footers, right?
Yep.
And that's me. And when you have those good rounds, well, you've had way more. But what's your rating now? You're like 980, 990?
984 right now.
Nice. And the highest you ever been?
1004.
What's your last ace? How long ago was it?
I don't know. It was actually probably when I was living up in the mountains up here in Arkansas.
Okay. And how many do you have? Do you know?
No clue.
That's good.
It's not a whole lot because to me an ace is a good shot gone bad.
Great
Unless
way to describe
A,
it.
you are specifically trying to ace the hole.
which I never have in my life.
Never.
Okay.
I have said that.
So we'll go B if it is some big giant knife shot, that's coming in and just dying, right there at the bucket. Okay, cool. And then the next, maybe a skip ace, but I mean, let's be realistic. If you skip and you're chain high, you're going to be circle's edge past it.
Yeah.
Still a bad shot.
Every ace that doesn't hit's a bad shot. And everybody wants to talk about it. Man, I almost aced this hole. Oh. And that's usually after somebody tells a story about the ace of hole.
There were 2 twos on 14 on Stone Links on Sunday.
Oh,
Long
yeah.
to long.
Long to long. 2 twos. One was a throw in, and I'm not sure on the other one. I want to know because they said the kid can throw like 600.
That's the one that goes
Yes.
back over to go to
Okay.
short.
I can barely make that creek,
That's a
so
little
I'm
creek,
not getting
yeah.
a 2. Yeah.
That's a mash.
I lay up.
The creek, like the
Yeah.
willows at the front of the creek were 351.
Okay, yeah.
I can't even make
Like,
the
that's
creek.
what we- that's what we
what is
gunned
the
from the
distance
tee.
to the hole.
Oh, it's probably like 500, and it's above your head.
Oh, I could make that. I did throw a 524 today.
Well, I'll say 500.
Yeah.
It's actually probably
I
it's
couldn't do
probably
that in
like
the tournament.
that 515 range. But I mean, if he like legit two'd that, he went over the top. That's a 600 off shot.
Oh yeah, especially
Yeah.
with that kind of angle.
They shot 2 just absolutely incredible rounds out there yesterday.
Nice. It was. You who that was.
Is it Pettigrew? It's Pettigrew.
Oh, Calvin, little tall.
Calvin?
I don't know, but yeah, they were talking about it and said, yeah, he can throw. So I was like, I wonder if it was a legit two or if it was a
Calvin's a good thrower. I think he's above 1,004, something like that.
I don't think he's quite.
No, not yet.
Is he not? I thought he was. But anyways, the dude that won, he's a good thrower out of Utah.
I mean, he was here all week, spending 8 hours a day on the course.
Who's that?
He should win. Levi.
Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. He
What
should
was
win.
what was the payout for the winner?
For Open?
Any of them? I didn't see.
Open was a little over 1,000.
Okay.
Jeremy got, I think, $715 for winning MP40. And I do not know what the
Sure.
50s or
Because Jay won, Redding won the Yeti won the MP50, right?
MP50s, yeah.
And MP60 was Bobby OG. He quit on my glow round that week on Wednesday, so I guess he redeemed.
And it was
himself.
worth it.
Yeah. That's why he quit.
This weekend, like 3 or 4 holes in, I was talking with Wags, who's the highest rated player in our division. I'm like, yeah, it's all about who's finally tough enough to deal with it.
Right. You're gonna take those.
You're going to
take
have
those-
some bad throws. You're going to have some bad holes. How do you respond to it?
And I guess that's like any sport, right? Where guys who've never lost before go to teams that start losing, especially in football when you get drafted to say like the Lions or something, and you've never lost a game in high school and college, and then
Hey, man.
what'd you say?
Said to the Steelers, we used to be good, okay? Not these last
They got
few
6
years.
world titles. I'm good with this. So they got some.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tom Brady has more than every
I mean,
franchise,
and
but-
granted, the Steelers were in the 70s, their heyday, but they do travel well. They're the number 1 traveling team.
True.
But adversity is not something a lot of these folks hit, right? And how, like you said, seen a lot of DNFs. I got a feeling that was a lot of pride on some of those DNFs.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to know that it's kind of like I was talking earlier. Pars changed on those holes for that day. I mean, that
Right.
might be the quote unquote par,
Yeah.
but it ain't on that day.
And I don't know if people
Par's
think
also
like
1,000
that, man.
rated out there. So
It was, yeah.
you could
Plus
limp.
2, I
You
think,
could
was
limp
almost-
your way to a great rating out there.
I think my +3 yesterday afternoon was 991, and like I said, I tripled the last hole. I was not happy about
Yeah.
that.
So you were talking about
Is that where the ratings fair, do you think, Jamie?
Oh, well, yeah. James had asked me if I thought the ratings were inflated. I'm like, no, man, it's conditions. I'm like, and if you out there and smash it in those conditions, you're gonna have. And
Because when
I've
somebody-
played and win like, I mean, over 25 years, I've played and win like that quite a bit over the years, and the ratings are always higher because there's so much stroke separation. You know, if you notice or not, there wasn't a lot of point differential because there was so much stroke separation. So each stroke was only, I think, 6 or 7 points. To
Okay,
where
usually
some
it's like
events
10.
it'll be 9, 10, 11
I
points.
see it usually around 10 or 11, right? Like a
Yep.
stroke it, right? So when I'm playing, I'm like, oh, I just took a 4. Well, there goes 10 more points off my.
So we were talking about Michael Westerman earlier, and his round 1, round 2, or round 1 and round 3 were rough, but his round 2 he shoots a 998. Yeah, that was in round 2. I guess you guys played long to short.
What was 998 round 2?
Let's see. He shot a 57. Short to long.
Yep. I'm just trying to think what par would be on that.
Thanks to J-Mo, the spotter, hole 13
Yeah, this is your spotter.
and 7. Sorry, 13 and 7.
Yeah, he was on 7, yeah.
Probably saw that rough.
And then I guess they put you on 13 the second day after all the hullabaloo the day before, right?
So it was a
Yeah.
2 down.
Jamie said his card backed it all up for everybody.
It was
so.
it was my card. Yeah. 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 It was my card.
So that was a shotgun start.
does.
There's nothing worse to having to walk out to 13 and 14. And
Oh,
the tournament I
yeah.
played in, I've started there every time. And my next round I was like, man, y'all really hate me. I
Oh,
don't get it.
yeah, it was a really short lunch for us. Yeah.
when you got to take a 20-minute walk to get to where you're going.
Well, luckily, Helton had drove his truck out, so
Oh, yeah.
we had that. But literally, we got up there. I got out, and in the food line, we were standing in the food line. He's like, "All right, it's an hour from now." So the time I got up there, got the food, ate the food, I had like 10, 12, 15 minutes to just kind of hang out for a minute and then walk my ass out to the back of the course again.
I guess I'm gonna walk this off.
It never fails. Like PR, I get the same thing. Like the back 40, way back there.
Nice. closer.
Yeah, I should play up in ratings, but whatever.
Come on up, man.
All right, well,
Yeah,
man.
it's okay.
Well,
Once in a while.
thank you, Jamie, for joining us. We appreciate it. Man, feel like that was definitely. I hate to say it, but that was definitely way more entertaining than the Ron Converse when we did. Ron talks in one thing, and Ron is a really good disc golfer. You too, man. That day, I was very excited to have both of y'all. No knock against me and Bob, but like I said, it was Ron and Jamie and two other guys because that's really what it was.
That was a great.
I really wish we could have had some more time because that conversation could have probably gotten real fun.
Yeah, and I'm sure it did, and I got Bob going. I was like, damn, okay, I got a producer here, man. I gotta
My
have to.
people telling your people, like, yo, we gotta
Yeah.
go.
Was that Friday night? Kind of started like the same thing. Rico stayed at James's house also this. So like he's out there, and I just go to talk. We start talking old school.
Right,
old
I
school
wanted to
there,
talk
too.
to Steve, but my weekend didn't work out the way I just.
Yeah, one last other thing you kind of talking about what we have coming up. You mentioned Claiborne.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Love that course.
Yeah, that's the sleeper in my top 5. I mean, we're talking Maple Hill, Whistlers, Harmony Bends.
Those are
There's
up.
the-
Claiborne
was
is
some good
man.
courses.
It is such a fun.
Have you played Harmony?
We want to, all of us.
Y'all want to talk about a weekend trip for you guys?
Yeah.
Y'all go stay up there, play Harmony, and then like an hour down the road is Eagles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's really close.
They're both, and it's like a 5-hour drive.
What is that?
Take the
price?
guys weekend, get an Airbnb or something, and
Man, we need to do that.
Agree.
Claiborne, when I went and played, it was surprisingly elevated. Is that right?
it is not what it's
I
not
think
like
swamplands
anything else
in
you'll ever see in Louisiana.
swamplands and like I'm
It's
going to
the
see
tail end of the Ouachita.
cypresses and stuff like that. No, there was none of that.
It was like Arkansas.
Yeah,
It's
he's
exactly
right.
like-
It's the foothills of the Ouachitas there.
Okay.
There's lots of elevation in the woods,
in
with
the
the
woods.
exception of one, maybe 2 holes. Of course, it's super fair.
Love that.
Great lines, super fair, everything, but it's workout.
What is that
You
one?
think 2 rounds at Stone Link's bad? I'm gonna tell you what, 2
Oh,
rounds
yeah.
a day in Claiborne. You
Yeah.
play both those
Hiking.
courses in a day.
What is
and
that?
You know it.
The one that goes uphill and it's got that really pretty grass in the 18.
18 does go uphill on Whitetail.
on white tail.
No, 17 is the one you're thinking of with the
Okay.
grass.
Yeah.
18 is the
Oh.
one like this.
Man, just gradually kept going up. But I just remember it really being really green in the middle of that
That's
fairway.
17. That's 17 on Whitetail.
And you support a women's event, an all women's event that goes on down there?
No, it's not an all women's
Oh,
event.
okay.
It's actually just the Lake Claiborne Championships.
Oh.
The first 5 years of that tournament, they had no pro women sign up. So they had like that 5th year, there were 2 or 3 women that signed up. So I was kind of like, hey, the girls are going to come out, kind of show our appreciation. Let's chip them in a little extra money for coming out and battling it. Well, it ended up that first year, I think the FPO winner got $5 more than the MPO winner, with like a third of the field size.
awesome.
So then we've done it the next 2, 3. Was it maybe the COVID year that I didn't do it? Or one of the years we didn't have any women signed up, basically. Long story short, all the way into last year, we ended up with 17 women there.
And you promoted that a
first
lot.
time.
I remember seeing you posted
It's-
and stuff.
Yeah, it's the first time it had always been the pro women, but threw the Am women in last year and we ended up with an MVP hooked up real good. They gave 2 discs per lady signed up and donated a basket that we threw all for at the end of the tournament.
Nice.
Nice. I love that.
For
MVP.
just Am ladies, and
Very
it
cool.
and it was funny. It was like, turns out the lady that threw the least amount of distance there is the one that won the basket.
Right on.
So,
Eh.
Say that again.
so like the lady with the least amount of distance, you can tell probably the least skill level there is the one who ended up winning the basket.
Nice. Way it should be.
So that was my first tournament for a rating, and my average on that, I played MA2, and it was an average of 888. First
88.
rating.
Was it a full tournament?
Was it? It was full. Yeah, it was full that year. So that was.
So there were some good folks there. So it helps. I
19.
mean, yeah, I'm just trying to think how the ratings.
I have never lost at Claiborne.
Really? Yeah, I
6 singles
Never.
6 singles and 2 doubles.
never lost at Claiborne.
They do a doubles, flex start
Yeah.
the day before, and
We were going to play last year, but we bailed because of the weather, because we were going to stay in tents, and then that Friday night, that cold front was coming in or whatever, because it was warm down there the weekend before we went down there. We were sweating.
Oh, man. That was fun.
And then yeah, I was afraid we were just going to get blown away. I'm glad we didn't stay in a tent from what I hear that night. That one night. It was only one night, but it was an important night. So.
Yeah, I'd kind of come through the realization because I got a win at Moody's a couple of weeks ago. Put me over 30K, and it was my 45th win, all of which are pro. I never had any AM sanctioned wins. But I think between Moody's and Claiborne, that's like 40+% of my wins are at those two
Moody's.
courses.
Okay.
I think I've won at Moody's, I think 11 times.
He was a guy that would set up at Pease Park and open up a trailer, and that's where I bought a lot of discs from. Was from Moody.
Moody's was a staple down at Pease.
It was.
You-
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it, and I'm happy to see him with a huge course out there on his land, because I think he had that land at that time.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's been doing that for a while. Here's another little thing you don't know about Moody. Up until I think 2 years ago, I think it was almost 20 years in a row, he had qualified in and ran the Boston Marathon.
Oh,
Yeah, that was like one of his big deal. He like his course out there, and it's sandy like Stone Links, like it's really sandy.
some sandy.
Like he
loam.
runs on his property out there in that sand.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
yeah,
Not easy.
Yeah,
How people do that on the beach.
Rocky did it with Apollo, and then he beat Mr. T up.
I know,
so
man.
I mean,
Obviously
clearly
it
it's the way to
helps.
train. But yeah, Moody's again. Yeah, Pease. I love Pease Park.
R.I.P. right there, buddy.
R.I.P. Pease.
R.I.P.
But we need to go down for it's the last Saturday in April is Eeyore's birthday. We'll take J-Mo down there.
I'm gonna tell you.
I know
I've
Jamie's
been to
I know
Eeyore's
Jamie's
birthday.
been- I have too.
That's an experience, guys.
And sadly, like everything in Austin, it's turned commercial. But when it wasn't commercial, it was what kept Austin weird. It was what
It's totally about Austin being weird.
you can. Remember, I ate some fungus, and there was this dude riding around on a horse. I'm like, and he had a shirt. I was just, and his lightning and flames, and there was a real donkey. It was crazy. Drum
donkey?
circles.
I don't know if this is nice, right?
There's a real drum circle, and you get up in these.
It's like the biggest drum circle. You're talking about two or 300 people playing
Yeah,
drums.
it's
Like
very,
it's one of the biggest drum circles you've ever seen.
it's very, very neat, and it's the last Saturday. And man, they've been doing it for. Last I saw was like 56 years. So
Painted
it's over
up.
60.
Everybody's painted. I mean,
You can go be weird. You can go be as freaky as you want. I got a picture of me in a grass skirt with some sort of hula top on over my boobs, and
Shaven face.
no, God, no. I having my long hair down, and like Jamie said, we were just sitting there painting each other with paint. Middle of the park.
Oh
so
yeah.
it's pretty
Lots of women with nothing but paint on.
All right.
cool. Austin for
We're
life.
going next year, is that what we said? Okay, cool. That sounds good to me, man. I liked Austin.
Yeah, don't go to Texas much later in April.
Yeah, because they
Miserable.
get too hot then. Now's the best time to be down there. So, all right. Well, man, that's it. Thank you, Jamie. We really do appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck in Bud Hill Masters.
Thanks guys for bringing me back and having me on. Like I said,
Absolutely.
Well, we got
good
some
to kill some time.
time, and I think we could have kept talking. And this has just been kind of off the cuff. We don't really just have too many prepared questions that I knew of. So, but thank you so much. And so you said you're heading to Bud Hill, and then you said what after that?
On to Bud Hill, and then I go home for a week, which I'm probably going to end up going to the Greater Houston
that's right.
Championships, which is its preview of Texas State's again. That our Texas State's course is the same one that the women play for the DGPT, and it's only set up it's a modification of a permanent course.
Okay.
So all the baskets aren't up all the time, but since looks like we're canceling the Masters only event at the house that weekend, so I'm probably going to go to Houston. And then back to Lake Claiborne the week after that.
And then that's it, right? Season's pretty much over after that.
We'll see. They're trying to talk me into Lone Star's got an event with 10K added, so I might end up playing that.
You know, when you play in Texas, you can pretty much play all year round. It's not here. It gets the cold. It's a little brittle.
Our off season's this summer.
Right.
Well, that's yeah.
No, really,
the
because you're
hours, too,
playing
are
in the
just
nice
fucking-
weather down there, and really a lot of the stuff is evergreen kind of stuff. You don't lose a lot of leaves. Your lines don't really change just too awfully much.
well, this summer was brutal.
Some Spanish oaks down there, but everything's pretty much dying, I'm sure. So
We could play year round. The past 3 winters here.
it's becoming a lot like Texas.
We're ready.
You get like maybe 2 weeks of some like extreme cold, or which extreme is below freezing. I mean, really, and then anything else is 30 to 40, and you're fine. So,
We got 0 last year. So. Whew.
Mike, anything else you want to say?
That's it. I enjoyed
All right,
being on
Mike. I'm
another
glad you got
pod.
to meet Jamie. That's awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us again.
Enjoyed talking.
And
Jamie,
Wyman.
I'm glad to have actually sat down and talked to you. So thanks for
Yeah,
coming on.
yeah, absolutely. No, it's
He's got to get
always
back.
love talking disc golf.
Yeah. This was easy. So,
Yes,
yeah.
100%.
This one was the easiest one I think we done, setting it up and
good
doing
job.
it and talking. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And safe travels to you. And good luck.
Oh yeah, and one other thing, if any of you looking for anything online, like I said, I was sponsored by One Star earlier. If you go to onestargt.com, use code JAMCOW, that's 15% off your order.
Yep. And I will put that in the cool little flash it across the screen and all that fun stuff for you.
So you should check out Cougar Lake. Just thinking about like getting down to Texas from here.
I've been told that, and
Yeah,
'cause I think he's from Texas, right?
He is. Grant's from Southeast. He's from East Texas, I think.
Oh
I'd
man,
say
he's from like
Southeast.
my part of Texas then.
Yeah, and so is Kevin. Kevin's from McKinney, actually.
It's same. I mean, it's not Texas. It's South Oklahoma. So,
I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, actually tomorrow I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna route through. I'm gonna stop and play Calico. I haven't played Calico.
okay,
have not
that's
played that
another heavily wooded, super fun course I've heard. So I haven't played it.
Yeah, I
yet.
hear it's like lots of elevation and stuff. That they want to do that and just back road it all the way up to Memphis just to look at the trees.
nice.
It's,
You
yeah,
know,
because
it's
it
that time of year.
should be changing. Calico's not part friendly. I've heard. So
No.
that's been the word on the street. So I wouldn't take it up there. All right. Well, thank y'all. Appreciate it. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike, for being on again.
Ba-doop.
Heck yeah.
Thank you again, Jamie. Good luck.
Hey, if you ever need any Jumpman services, J-Mo is your Jumpman extraordinaire. James probably like, what's a Jumpman? But anyway, so later, y'all. Bye.
Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others.
That's right. Players. That's right. Players. That's right. Players.